Good evening and welcome to POSTCAST tonight. The Utah Jazz defeat the Golden State Warriors by the score of 101-78, and I'd have to say an all-around success for the Utah Jazz tonight, Rob.
I was very pleased with what I saw tonight, especially after watching training camp and watching it and getting a feel for what the Jazz want to do, and then watching them go out on the floor and get it done. Very impressed with the way they played, especially the transition game.
Number one question has to be the Warriors shoot 33% today, 32.6. How much of that was Jazz defense? How much of that is a Warrior team playing 3 games in 4 nights? How much is preseason? They just weren't engaged. What can you take of holding the Warriors to 33%
Probably
shooting?
a little bit of everything there, especially defending the perimeter and not getting that many good looks. The Golden State Warriors continue to struggle with the inside game. Bogut is just didn't give it to him consistently last year, and I don't know if he's going to be able to do it this year. They rely on transition and three-point shooting, and it didn't happen tonight. 9 for 23 from the three-point line, and that's about as many threes that they're going to take per game.
And that hits about what they do. That's 39%. They weren't off in that regard. They were just off in all their twos. What stat line's most impressive to you? Derek Favors, 10 points and 14 rebounds in 25 minutes, or Jeremy Evans, 12 points and 13 rebounds in 24 minutes?
Well, I think if you look at the stats, 62 rebounds, 13 of them on the offensive glass, 23 assists now, and they shoot 46%. Now, the transition game is going to be something that's going to benefit this basketball team, and I think this team is being built that way. So we got a good look at what to expect or what they would like to do.
2 things I really liked in this game. One, I wondered this morning on my tip-off podcast how the Jazz were going to use Alec Burks. I think we saw it tonight. He plays with a second unit, and he has the ball in his hands. And frankly, if we're really honest about Alex as a player, he's been very good with the ball in his hands. He's been very poor when the ball's not in his hands. They've given him a circumstance to have the ball in his hands, and this seems to be the best way to use him.
And that's when he's at his best. I think he plays better with the basketball in his hand. He played 21 minutes tonight. I think that will increase maybe about 25, 26 minutes a game, and they'll be in that second quarter, and he'll play a major role with the success of this basketball team. And he has to embrace it, though, in order for it to be successful. And if he continues to play the way he did tonight, I think he will.
Well, he's got the ball in his hands, and if he's playing with Hayward and Trey, he's probably not going to. The other question coming in tonight was Trey Burke. Trey finishes with 12 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. He hit 2 threes in the game. He was aggressive. He made some. I thought he played very well. I think you have to really lower the expectations on what you expect out of a 20-year-old starting point guard in the NBA. There was no scouting report on him. We'll see what happens when reports get out on him. He's got a particularly interesting schedule where he plays a bunch of the teams twice early on, and we're going to see on that. But I thought he was pretty solid tonight.
I thought he looked good there as well. One thing that I like to see him do a little bit better job of, obviously he likes to shoot and he likes to score, and he can get into the paint and he can make shots for him. I'd like to see him get into the paint and look to pass the basketball. He's challenging big guys. He's taking shots that are not high percentage shots. And when you break the defense down, you get into the paint, someone's open. He needs to get into the mindset sometimes of looking for that open man.
Anything worry you tonight? I mean, is there anything that Ty Corbin's going to be hammering on them yesterday, or they get a pass on tonight?
Well, I think you get a pass tonight. I think you definitely get a pass tonight, and they will just continue to work on everything that they've been working on in training camp and practice tomorrow, and repetition. I mean, just get to the point where it's muscle memory. And you don't have to think about where you need to go, what you need to do, and all that kind of things, and that was just fine.
Hopefully we'll get some close games in the preseason, too, because these guys are incredibly inexperienced in playing late games. I mean, Gordon Hayward's the only one who's got any late game experience on this entire roster other than Richard Jefferson, so it'll be really interesting to see how the Jazz handle that. Final score tonight, 101-78. This is your first edition of POSTCAST. Make sure you check out Jazz Game Rewind throughout the year, and also remember this year we're taking your questions, and if your question gets asked during a broadcast, you can win tickets to an upcoming Jazz game. The phone number is 435-709-8896. Share your thoughts on what you saw with the Jazz tonight. We can play that on the broadcast as well. We want to hear your fans react. 435-709-8896, or ask Boone a question, or ask a question for one of the Jazz players and play it on the air. You win Jazz tickets to an upcoming game. Again, that number is 435-709-8896. Thanks a lot for tuning in to POSTCAST.